Hello, welcome to the Big Bad Marketing Podcast bonus episode.
Bonus. What?
I'm Janae.
And I'm Brooke, and we are here to talk to you today about the overwhelm that comes with marketing a small business.
Ooh.
And are we not in that right now, Janae?
Yeah, I'm like, take a deep breath. The yoga part of me is coming out like, take a deep breath, let out a
Yes.
sigh, because we got your back. We see you and we feel you if you're overwhelmed, because this is overwhelming.
Yes. And how many clients have we talked to just in the past couple of weeks that one of the first things they say when because we started by saying, "Hey, so why are you interested in working with us?" And
Besides, because we're so cool.
yeah, they say, one, you're amazing, and I really love the people that you are, but also I feel overwhelmed by the idea of marketing my small business. So a lot of these small business owners have not actually taken steps in any certain direction, or maybe they have, but it's been like really short-term things.
Yeah, or like sort of frantic in some way, maybe not energetically, but just like, okay, this and this and this and this, and there's no strategy, there's no clarity. It's just like, I dipped my toes into everything and I'm just doing marketing.
Yes. And no wonder it feels overwhelming, right? I mean, even so in the big bad marketing world, we have many channels that we would love to market our business on right now, but we are constantly having to take a step back and say, okay, what is the next step? And what is the next step? And what is the next step? Because I think from being in this space, we have that understanding that you actually can't do everything right now, especially as a solopreneur and a small business owner that is just one person, maybe two or three people. Like
I
you
was gonna
just can't do
say,
it.
like, even between the two of us, we both come from professional marketing backgrounds. We have similar and diverse areas of expertise. And we are still like, this is overwhelming. Where do we start? There's like 300,000 different directions we could go at any one moment. It's not just like, okay, we know marketing. So here's this. It's cut and dry, really clear. Here's your steps. No, it's like constant tasks, constant reprioritizing, constant inspiration, ideas like, yeah, we should try that. And then we're like, okay, yes, but my focus this week was actually this other thing. So now I have to stop doing that and start doing this.
Yes. And I think one of the things that we have gotten pretty good about recently is trying not to compare where we are with other businesses that are really far along in the journey. So we love to look at what other business owners are doing as inspiration for where we'd like to be one day. But I think a lot of people can get caught up in the, oh my gosh, but look at what they're doing. Look at that website. Look at how many podcasts they have. Look at this. Look at that. Look at this email I just got. It's beautiful. And I think it's so easy to look at someone else's business who is in your same space and feel like I'm inadequate if I'm not where
Oh,
they are.
yeah. Well, and just in general to feel like that,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, even if you're not looking at a comparison, like, okay, I need to be email marketing and I need to be doing social media and I need to get on SEO, get my blog going, update my website pages. Like the list is never ending. Even if you're not looking at someone else, you're just like these, which is often how I'm feeling about this. Like we just know what we need to do because we're marketers and we're two people, we're professional marketers and we are still struggling with it.
Yes. And so the reason for this episode is we want to share the three steps that we take regularly at Big Bad Marketing to settle ourselves and to really refocus and prioritize our marketing efforts in this world where we could, in theory, be doing everything. And sometimes we think that we should, but in reality, we can't.
Okay, yes. Ideal future state is like we are able to do all the things and they're all working so successfully and everything's great. But like realistic right now, it's just that's not where we're at. We're still building out systems and platforms and workflows. And I think less is more in this case. And if you are just starting your marketing efforts too, maybe that's a really helpful creed to follow. Like just do a little bit, just do a little bit, because that's going to be more effective and meaningful and help you move the needle in a more strategic way than, trying to do 300,000 things. And if you have budget constraints or time and resource constraints, or just like a bajillion other things to do because you also operate and run your business. Ours happens to be about marketing. So we just like live and breathe marketing. But if you make pizzas or you do business coaching or you sell other products, right? Like you have to also do that. It's not just market the business. So the overwhelm can be high.
Absolutely. So the step one, the first thing that we do is we zoom out. And I'm so grateful that we have each other in this business building venture. And if you are a solopreneur and you don't currently have connections with other solopreneurs or business owners, I would highly encourage you to form a relationship. And it can be completely online. If you're a service provider that does things online, find a community of people, and they are out there in the forums, and there are sites dedicated entirely to whatever thing you do, no doubt. But just having the support and being able to sort of zoom out and get perspective and then run that by someone else can be so valuable.
I want to just mimic that and so genuinely acknowledge how grateful I am for you and doing this
Oh,
together. And like, there's no way we would be where we are now without this shared partnership and all the brilliance and inspiration you bring. So thank you so much. And if I'm like hearing you talk about solopreneurs, I'm just like, damn, bravo to all of you, like who are going at this alone. And
yes.
whether or not you went in with your eyes wide open, like building a business is hard.
Yeah.
So congratulations on getting to wherever you are, that you are building a business and you're doing it on your own.
Yeah. And you're doing the darn thing. So when we say zoom out, we need to consider where you are in the stage of your business. If you are at 0 to 6 months, if you have a side hustle and you're ready to turn it into a full time thing, but you still have a full time job, that's a very different place than a business that's been running for 2 to 3 years and you have quit your full time job and you are now invested in making that your thing. So think about the stage of your business, accept the stage of your business, because it's so easy to want to be further along and to at that 0 to 6 month stage want to be where that 2 to 3 year old business is. And the reality is that's just not, it will come in time, but it's a lot of grinding to get there.
Yeah. And don't wish away the place where you are now. I feel like
Yes.
that's like when I was a kid, I'm like, I just want to, be an adult and I want to drive a car and I want to go do this and that. But now I'm here and I'm like, damn, I wish I was a kid again.
Oh,
So the business is the same. And I think every time you and I, Brooke, like we hit a milestone, we're like, wow, how did we get here? And while it's stressful and overwhelming and like the burnout is real, the the fulfillment that comes through that is so worth it. And I like looking back and being like, oh, we worked through that. We got here.
oh
So
yeah. And the
that's nice.
milestones are exciting and should be celebrated. And one day you will look back on that time and be like, "Ah, I needed that." Um,
Yeah.
Related, unrelated, that reminds me of the Thomas Rhett song 16, where he talks about like, oh, I just wish I could drive. And then, oh, my friends are going out to Vegas. I wish I could be 21. And then now look at me, I'm 35. And it's like, yeah, wishing it away, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so aside from knowing the stage of your business, I think it's also really useful to know your bandwidth. How much can you realistically take on if you're a solopreneur? If you have a budget, right? Like if you're a solopreneur, do you have the budget to pull in outsourced resources? Do you have the budget to hire a team or an agency to help you take on some of the marketing needs, or employees to take on working in the business tasks so you can back up and work on the business tasks? Um, in all of these cases, it's going to help you determine where you should put your energy, because there's no use in being on Twitter or excuse me, X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, email marketing, SEO, like all at the same time. It's just a recipe for disaster. And I think, Brooke, you and I are constantly like, there's no one size fits all formula for marketing. It's pulling the different levers for each individual business and going slowly in the acceleration towards which levers to pull and when.
Absolutely. And in our episode on content pacing and the blog post for that, we talk about the strategic approach to content creation, specifically of, depth, then width versus width, then depth. So depth, then width being go deep on a single platform, like say Instagram, that's actually going to move the needle for your business, and only get on these other platforms when you have the bandwidth and capacity to do so. So if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and I think that one is super valuable for business owners who do have that concept of I should be everywhere all at once. Keep
Yes,
that
and I
in.
should be posting every single day on every single platform.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we in this sort of moment in time where media is instant, right? Like it's like fast and it's quick and it's constant. It's easy to be like, oh, I do need to be everywhere all at once. Look at all of these channels or these accounts that are very successful. And that's the approach they're taking. But what we forget when we're not like marketing experts is that they have a team of maybe small team or huge team, depending on the size of the company that's managing all of that, right? Like some businesses have an entire team just to generate the content and strategy for one social media platform.
Yeah.
So
It's
let that
it's
sink in, right? Like you're
right.
just one person and you're trying to manage 17 different platforms and run your business and run your personal life, right? There's realistic expectation setting here that can help you make decisions that are strategic and will really help your business grow, not just kind of fumble in that distressed, frantic state.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree with that. And pro tip for when you're estimating your bandwidth, multiply it by 2 or 3, how long you think it's going to take to do something, right? So
Multiply
if
your bandwidth by two or
or
three.
excuse,
Yes.
right, would love to do that. Maybe what I'm trying to say is divide your bandwidth by 2 or 3 for the actual availability that you have, because especially when you're earlier in these efforts, like you might say, okay, I have 2 hours a week to focus on my email marketing. But it might take you 2 hours just to come up with what you want to say and the imagery you want to use for an email campaign. And that doesn't even account for the time it takes you to put it in the software platform and schedule it and figure out what audiences you want to send it to. Or, there's so much more to it that I think we even find this, when we go to make a blog post or something, and it's like that time sort of blows up in a way that if you don't anticipate it and you don't account for that, it can feel really defeating to be like, well, I was going to send this awesome email this week, but now that time slot is gone and I don't even have it scheduled. And now I've sort of missed the boat on sending that email. And that's really frustrating.
So frustrating. And it's kind of hilarious. Brooke, you and I just discovered that we're both like the latest people in the world. Maybe not that we're the latest by like the quantity, but by the frequency of being late.
Oh, 10 to
And
15 minutes at least.
yeah,
Sorry, family
minimum
and friends.
to everything. So just know that about us in general, not our
Yeah.
clients, but
Yeah, no, we'll show up early to your meetings
we're
for
going
sure.
bowling. I'm going to be late. I'm going to be fashionably late. Um, no, I'm trying to get at. I once read that when you're late, it's because you're over optimistic about how much you can get done in a certain amount of time. And despite years of being in this industry and knowing how long writing a blog takes, and then how long it takes to edit it and proofread it and add images and upload it and format it, I still underestimate how long it's going to take, and that it's shocking. And then like exactly what you're saying, my time dissolves and disappears and I haven't even gotten the thing done. So in terms of like how are we doing this, we are also overwhelmed and we are also constantly working through the kinks of how long does this realistically take. And at this point I think overestimating by 2 to 3 times the amount and blocking that off to complete the tasks.
Yeah, absolutely. And that will be your saving grace, right? It's the whole concept of what is it? Under promise and over deliver. You can do that for
Hey.
yourself too, right? Like you can over deliver for yourself and actually get excited about your marketing efforts if you are able to carve out, say, 3 to 4 hours to set up that marketing campaign for your email. And that is going to feel really good. And that type of motivation is what keeps you moving forward and feeling like you can do this.
Could not agree more. And then it's the reminder to celebrate everything that gets completed, every win, every, we said milestones, but like milestone doesn't have to be this huge thing. We hit our 100 customers. Like it can be like, I got my first blog post up. And I'm thinking about how, like, as you continue in your process, the things get easier. Maybe they will take less time because you're learning how to do them. And all of that's great. But don't forget to celebrate as you go. And the way Brooke and I usually do this is with like a little dance party, and we start doing this thing and we're like, yes, let's do this.
And I think too, on that point, celebrate your consistency because so much of what we talk about in marketing relies on consistent effort. I was on a call with a client the other week who talked about how they sent an email once and it didn't work. And how common is that, right, Janae? We're like, well, I tried posting on social media, but nobody was liking it. So I stopped. I sent an email once, but nobody bought my thing. So I stopped. And it's like trying to convey that point of marketing, unfortunately, is like working out. If you stop working out, you will lose the gains that you have made. You will lose muscle over time. You have to keep going to the gym week in and week out. You cannot come to me and tell me, well, I went to a class at the gym last week. Why don't I have a six pack? Well, have you been doing that for months and months and years and years and years? And have you been increasing your weights and increasing your muscular endurance by doing more reps? Or did you just try it once and then you're disappointed that you don't have the outcome that you want? So celebrate consistency over returns, especially in the early stages of your business.
Brooke, I love this. When you started talking about it, I immediately went to ceramics because I do a lot of pottery. And it's like a thing if you are inconsistent or if you just do it one time, like you're not going to master it. It's like anything, like you can't master a thing or even get good at it if you do it once. And, to the end of the client being like, well, I sent one email one time 3 years ago and it didn't work. I'm loving your analogy. I'm like, okay, your goal in the gym is to lose 10 pounds. And you're like, well, I went to the gym once 3 years ago and it didn't work. Like I didn't lose 10 pounds. Like you can hear the sort of ridiculousness of something like that only in that context, right? But
Yeah.
when you think about marketing is also a practice, just like any of these other things, I think it really helps like level the playing field of like, oh yeah, okay, one social media post a year is not going to help you with anything.
Yeah. And I do think that is a reason why a lot of business owners choose to outsource their marketing efforts because they try the thing once, it doesn't work, they get frustrated, it feels overwhelming, and then they come to the conclusion of, well, if I have to be super consistent with this over time, I need somebody else to do this because I just don't have the time and energy and skill set to do it myself. And that's okay. A lot of
I
people
was going
do
to
that.
say,
And
I
that's
love
why
that.
businesses like ours exist, right?
I love the rational way that you described that process of someone being realistic about what they can and can't achieve. I'm not suggesting you should try it once and then be like, this isn't for me, I can't do it. But the place where you have thoughtfully considered and assessed where you're, as the entrepreneur, as the solopreneur, as the business owner, like where your value is best applied to your business and made a decision of like, no, I would like support in this. It's not my area of expertise. It's not the best use of my time when I work in or on my business. I love that. And I hope those are the people who find us, but also find their way to a marketing service versus people are just like, I don't know that. I need to do
Yes.
everything. That's there's opposite extremes here.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. All right. So the last thing in this sort of step one of zooming out, we talk about this a lot, but it's thinking about your goals, the goals for your marketing.
Mm-hmm. Tell me
And
more.
so I actually just read a great book on goals that I would love to recommend to anyone and everyone who is thinking about goal setting for their business or otherwise. And it is so it's by John Acuff. And it's the title is All It Takes is a Goal. And he
Oh,
breaks down goal setting in such a simplistic way, from easy goals to middle goals to long-term goals, which he calls guaranteed goals. And that book just simplified everything to the extent that I think whether you are a business owner or you just want to achieve some goals in your personal life, like please read that book. He also has a really great podcast that is helpful tidbits on goal setting and
okay. But
productivity.
first,
And
listen to our podcast.
but first, listen to our yeah, don't leave yet. But when you think about the goals for your business, one of the ways to make things feel less overwhelming is by taking a big goal and chunking it down and chunking it down further and chunking it down further until you have this series of easy goals that feel like you're not even doing anything, right? So you might have
Ooh.
that top level goal that says, we want our marketing to bring in 50 qualified leads a month. And that is a pie in the sky, not even understanding if that's a realistic potential outcome for your marketing, but who knows? But that's the type of goal that a lot of small business owners go for and then
Hmm.
get frustrated when they're not hitting it.
It
So
didn't work.
right, exactly. It didn't work. And I tried this thing the one time. And what we would encourage you to do is break down that goal into smaller goals. So maybe a middle-sized goal is going to be to grow your email list, right? Add a certain number of subscribers to your email list. But breaking it down even further, your lowest level of goals should be things that you have absolute control over, right? So you cannot control how many people sign up for your email list. That is not a good goal for your business because while it might be inspirational, motivational, you can't control that. But what you can control is sending out a weekly email to your list of subscribers, sending out a monthly newsletter, promoting your email newsletter on social media, asking people to share with their friends. So when you think about goal setting for your marketing efforts, think about those types of goals where it's like, I I get a yes or no checkbox for whether I did that thing. And that is a reflection on me and what I'm doing for my marketing and not the outcomes. But one of the things we say is consistency over time breeds results. So eventually, you likely will grow your email list when you can be consistent, but don't try to tackle these big goals without the smaller ones that are actually going to get you to that point.
Rick, I'm like loving this so much. So first, I want to shameless plug our our podcast episode that is completely about setting goals for your business and how to think through that in a strategic, helpful way. Because we also talk about this, which what you're describing sounds a little bit like SMART goals,
Mhm.
but also a place where the goal is the thing you can actually cross off the list and accomplish, not the result. And so there's like you have to be able to distinguish between what you're doing as the goal and what the result of the goal would be, which in this case is like 50 new subscribers to our email letter. So, yeah, totally on board with this. Love the direction.
Yeah, goals versus outcomes, right? And you hope that by
Goals versus
achieving these
outcomes.
goals, you will hit these particular outcomes, but you really don't have control over the outcome. Unfortunately, you only have control over what you have control over, period.
And that is like such a blanket statement and sort of motto for marketing in general, because it's again, there's no checklist, there's no formula. It's like we're doing the different things we can, and it's trial and error, and it's practice over time, and it's consistent effort and testing and seeing what's working and doing more of that and leaving behind what's not working because we've set metrics and benchmarks. So yeah, there's no sort of right way or like we've completed this goal. It's just directional, it's a practice. That's it.
Yeah,
Okay,
completely agree.
so now you have all of these ideas and like a sense of what your goals are, how much time you have to put towards it, where the stage of your business, like you've zoomed out, you've got a really good bird's eye view of all the things. How do you decide where to start? I think this is a huge place where overwhelm kicks in, is like you're like, okay, like you're trying to do everything, you see the big picture. So how do you really like laser focus, hone in on what to put energy into right now?
The age-old question. How do I prioritize my time, my energy? How do I still move the needle for my business versus like chasing the shiny object that I want to be doing? And it really, again, depends on going back to that. Like, age and stage of your business, what makes sense according to your bandwidth, and what the goals are for your business. So let's use us at Big Bad Marketing as an example. We decided really early on that one of the goals of our business was to empower entrepreneurs and very small business owners by providing lots of great free content for them to ingest and use in various ways. So that is why we decided to start marketing with our podcast and our blog. And so those have been the two channels that we started with. And we decided everything else can wait. We don't need to be on social media right now. We didn't build an email list out on day one. Like, we are just taking steps as we go to say, what deserves our energy right now? And is it aligned with our goals? Do we have the bandwidth every week to record this podcast and do the blog post? Like, this was all part of that strategic decision. And now that we have about 6 months of the podcast under our belt and we're, chugging along, we think pretty good, we can actually shift to a place where we think about, okay, where does our energy need to go next? And how does that align with what we want our business to become?
Okay. And this for us is such an iterative process because today's priority, like, we were just working through all of our priorities and they're constantly changing. Constantly. We're like, okay, we have to build this thing. And then we start building it. And then we're like, oh, but we need to also do this other thing. And there is a place where that is helpful. But there's also a place where high level strategic direction comes in and really helps us resolve some of that. So we break it down when we're doing this into 3 sections, which is what are we doing now? Or 3, let's say. What are we doing now? What are we doing next? And what are we doing later or never? And so when you think about now, we're like, this is the stuff that's going to drive impact, high impact, ideally. And it's tied to our most immediate goals, which are like the North Star of the business, the clear direction of what we're trying to achieve. And then those are the things we're going to do now and like immediately. And then next is what you're going to do next. What we do next is it's important. And we acknowledge that that is an important step we need to take, but it's not as urgent as the high impact, what we're going to do now. And then the last box is what we're doing later or potentially never, right? Like they're like shiny objects that are like pulling us in. We're like, oh, that would be fun. That's cool. Let's make like a giant YouTube video dance party. Like, cool, but that's not really moving any kind of needle. It's like a little bit of a time waste. It's a should. I loved what you recently told me, Brooke. Like, we're like shoulding all over ourselves. Like, we're like, we should do this, we should do that, we should do this. I'm like, not necessarily useful. And they're just things, they're like the do later, or maybe we just cross it off the list eventually because it's just not serving our business right now. It's not tied to the main thing, is to keep the main thing the main thing.
And one of the ways that we have recently started trying to organize the chaos that is our brains and sort of funnel everything through these filters is by using Slack and having a separate Slack channel for each of our in-house marketing efforts. So we have a Slack channel for the podcast. We have a Slack channel for our email marketing. We have a Slack channel for social media. And we can go through and sort of hash out our ideas in these channels in, semi real time conversations. We use it more as kind of a dumping ground. And then, okay, Janae, when you have a couple hours tomorrow, you can go in and kind of respond to things. So we're constantly moving the needle forward, but that sort of helps us to dump our ideas out there and then allow things to rise to the surface that fall into those buckets of, okay, this is what we're doing now. This is the podcast that we're going to record today because this is the most important thing for us to say. Then next for the podcast, we can focus on, promotion and all these other channels. And then, future considerations for it or things that we don't ever want to do. And, it seems to be a really effective tool for letting us prioritize.
Yes. And I love that all the stuff is stored there. I'm a huge fan of audio voice notes, but at least in the platform we're using, they like disappear and then they get lost in all our other messages. So I love that this is like separate channels for each of the topics and our notes and comments stay there so we can revisit them or reply thoughtfully later or like go check what we said. But I also did tell you today that like this Slack platform for us is just a monster and it's building so much momentum. And I know it's the key to unlocking like a lot of of unearthing all of the good that's to come out of us and the magic and the gems within us. But I'm also like, oh my God, this is a lot.
Overwhelming, some might say.
Yeah. There you go. So, in terms of like, if you're a visual person, we're like naming these sort of buckets that you can think about your priorities in. We're going to share in the blog post for this episode the Eisenhower matrix, which a friend of mine told me about this in actually a mastermind group, like a goal setting group, because everyone's like, well, how do I set my goals? I'm not sure what my priorities are. And this is a chart that helps you like literally write down in quadrants. So you have um it goes up and down based on how much effort it requires and then how much value it's going to bring. And I find it helpful when I'm like, is this do it now? Is this do it later? Is this do it next? Or is this like never do it? So we'll include that so you can take a look and maybe it'll help you prioritize as well. It helps me.
Yeah, I love that. Any kind of tip, trick, or tool to help you prioritize because as small business owners, our minds are constantly a mile a minute. And if it's not about the things we're doing right now, it's just future state ideas. So, any sort of tool to help with the chaos of the mind and putting it down on paper, I am so on board.
Yeah, like literally so old school. I think the two of us, like, oh my God,
Oh,
computer's blurry, but
constant.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, my notes, I just like write stuff down because if I don't, like it will just fall out into space and then I'll think about it at 3 in the morning.
yeah.
Um, okay, so just a quick example on this is like if you haven't sold anything just yet, you don't need to stress and overwhelm yourself with like, I need a strategy for building reels for my Instagram page. You probably need to focus on building out a simple offer, a landing page, and a way to get in front of your potential buyers. So, as you're thinking through where should I put my energy, try to keep it in perspective now that you've had your zoomed out vision, like just move through in a more aligned, kind of focused and honed in way.
Which naturally leads us to step three, where you build a simple, strategic marketing plan. And when we say simple, we mean real simple, right? So choose the one, maybe two platforms that you feel like you are ready to manage at this time. And remember that your website is a platform, especially if you're a new business owner. So this might be website and email. It might be website
Boom.
and Instagram. It might be website and Facebook because all business owners need a website. Go back to our episode on how to DIY your website build if you need more on that. But choosing those one to two platforms, get super clear on it, and then say, that's all I'm focusing on right now. And everything else can wait. And once you make that decision, honestly, for us, it sort of felt like a weight lifted of like, okay, wait, so we don't have to worry about doing social media right now? That's okay? And it's like, yes, here's your permission to say no to all of that other stuff and focus
Use your
only,
no.
yes, use your no, the power of the no, and just focus on what is achievable.
Could not agree more. If you only work on your website, that's amazing. And that's a
Yes.
big bad move, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so a next step as you're kind of building out that like granular strategy of like, okay, what do I actually do? I'm like slowly going from top of funnel to bottom of funnel as I concentrate in, is create a little system. We love the annual marketing calendar, but that might be too big of a way to think for you right now. And that's okay. Make a monthly plan or a quarterly plan,
Or a
write out
weekly
the
plan.
a weekly plan.
Take it a
Yes,
step back,
exactly.
man.
Yes, or a step like smaller. Yeah, make it
Yeah.
hone in. And batch your content, think through themes and goals and sort of like what's relevant for that segment of time. And that can be your system. That's it.
Yeah. And we love systems. Make it as easy as possible. Make it as repeatable as possible. Don't reinvent the wheel. Like reuse and repurpose the things that you do. If you decide to focus on your website and a blog as part of that, then use that in your email. Don't go out and think that you have to come up with new creative ideas for every single thing. Like use what you have and what you've already spent time creating.
Sure. And in content specifically, we constantly talk about COPE, the acronym COPE, which is create once, publish everywhere. And that's so relevant here. But I'm also thinking about how like you just said, don't reinvent the wheel. Like that's part of why we've created. So we have template bundles that you can, or just individual templates that you can access on our website so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel of like, how do I build out my strategy for this? How do I do this thing that, we're trying to describe? How do I write social media posts? Like we try to make it so easy so that you don't have to be overwhelmed. So visit our website, check those out. They might help you minimize the demand and the need for you to like be everywhere all at once.
Yeah. And remember that when we talk about strategy, we're not saying do more, we're saying do it smarter,
Do it
right?
smarter, have a workflow, actually do the things that will get you results.
Yes. And we hope that you're at this point where things feel a little less overwhelming.
Yeah, may you be an empowered entrepreneur. Drop us some comments about what's going to work for you, what doesn't work for you, challenges you face. Give us a 5-star review and tell the whole world why you love this podcast and share it with a fellow business owner who could benefit from this information